Now today, we take a closer look at South Africa's high divorce rate. In a survey commissioned by the Marriage Foundation, results show that 60%, and let me repeat that, 60% of couples are happy in their relationship for 1 year, that's prior to their breakup. According to the study, boredom and a lack of communication are some of the main culprits that ultimately lead to divorce. Now, to discuss these findings, we are joined by attorney Hugh Raichlin this morning. A very good morning to you and welcome to Newsroom.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
First and foremostly, what is the current state of the divorce rate in South Africa?
Well, unfortunately, the news is not good news. There's been a 5% increase in the divorce rate. South African statistics came out in December 2014, and there was a study that was done of 22,000 divorces up to the period September 2012. And what they found is that over that period, there was a 5% increase year on year for the years ending September 2011.
Now, what are some of the contributing factors and the main reasons for people divorcing?
I think there are a number of reasons. I think that one of the reasons is what you mentioned in the introduction, and that's the problem with communication. And I don't think that it's limited to marriages. I think that communication is a problem that we have in the workplace. It's a problem we have in relationships in general. And from my experience, I've seen that people find it difficult to communicate with one another. I think after the initial infatuation that people have when they fall in love, so to speak, the reality hits home, and people find it difficult to navigate difficult issues. Would
that relate to finances, emotional situations, and what else would you attribute that to?
I think that finances is a big issue. I know that, for example, we all know that South Africa is going through a particularly difficult time and has, for the last few years, been going through a difficult time financially. And I think that certainly puts a strain on things. But I think that it also pertains to basic human values. And one of the things that comes up a lot in my practice is where I see that there's a high degree of infidelity. People are not loyal to their partners.
And we've seen these websites where, people can commit these type of things. But what are the demographics in our country in terms of divorce statistics in the country from race to class? How does it differ?
Yes. Well, the statistics that we've got now from South Africa statistics is that in the white population, they were the population that had the highest divorce statistics for the period 2002 to 2007. After that, however, from 2007 until 2012, the black population has now outstripped the white population in divorce statistics. And it's sitting at somewhere like 45.2% of divorces that were from the white population and a higher proportion from the black population.
And what is that higher proportion? What are we talking about? Over 50%?
Yes.
Yes, that's scary. Now, how difficult is it to get divorced in South Africa? Is it a difficult thing to do?
The truth is that it's as difficult as your partner wants it to be. The requirement in terms of the law is that there has to be what we call a breakdown of the marriage, an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage. Irretrievable meaning that there's no way back, or there's no way to restore the marriage. So that's where it is. Previously, you had to prove guilt on one side of the, one party's behavior or the other. Today, the guilt issue is out. It's irretrievably broken down. We cannot communicate with each other. There's no love and affection between us. And we can't communicate. We don't wish to be married to one another. That is all that one needs to prove to get divorced. However, because of issues like children, custody, the amount of maintenance that a person might need to pay for their child, the division of assets, people do not agree to the divorce going through until those issues are resolved. And that's when you'll get people locking horns and remaining married until divorced for, it can be several years.
Now, my grandmother used to say, marriage is not a race, it's a marathon. You got to hang into it. Now, some people have suggested that the new rate of divorce is a new trend. Would you concur with that?
I don't think it's a new trend. I think that for as long as there's been marriage, unfortunately, there's been divorce, and people have problems in relationships. I think that what we are seeing, however, from other statistics that I saw recently, marriage has actually decreased. In fact, between the years 2003 to 2013, I saw an article by Laura Grant, and she said that marriages have decreased by 10%. So that seems to be a trend, that people are not marrying one another, and maybe that is also influencing the rate of divorce, that they're simply not married, they're living as couples, they're cohabiting, and those statistics are not being gathered.
Now, to what degree do married couples consider dispute resolutions? Have you seen that happen before they actually get divorced?
Well, I think that most people see the law and going to court as being the only way of getting divorced. And the truth is that in order to get that divorce order granted, you have to go to court whether you like it or not. But I think the point that you're making is an excellent one, and that is that there are alternative dispute resolution mechanisms available. And particularly, I am a proponent of mediation. I recently qualified through the London School of Mediation, and there are statistics that quite clearly show that most matters that are referred to mediation are resolved much quicker and with much less cost than with litigation. So I would certainly promote that people go to mediation. I think that they should first go to counselling before they consider divorce. And second of all, if they do want to go the route of a divorce, they should rather try and mediate it, particularly taking into account the fact that whether they like it or not, if they've got children, they're going to be joined at the hip, so to speak.
Now, I was going to ask you to give us some advice, but there you've given it to us. But your final thoughts on the matter?
I think that marriage is hard work. I've been married, thank God, for 29 years and happily married. And I think that it's all the basics that we know. Whatever you want to succeed at in life that has value needs hard work and effort. And you reap that which you sow.
We've just seen now on screen the different types of marriages that we have in South Africa. Which is the most common in South Africa?
I think that the most common, I haven't seen the statistics, but the most common would be a marriage in community of property, and that is simply because you don't need an antenuptial contract to get married. It's when the common law would apply to your marriage.
I see there's civil marriages by far the most. Is that what you're talking about? Is that the same thing?
Well, there are civil unions that are being solemnized now, right, which is an irreligious marriage. In fact, I do have some statistics on that as well.
Yes.
And that is that 53% of marriages are solemnized at the Department of Home Affairs. 30% are religious marriages, and 17% are unspecified.
So civil marriages could be either in community or out of community of property.
Correct.
That's a civil marriage,
correct.
right?
That's correct.
Hugh, thank you so much for your advice.
Pleasure.